So hi, welcome to Woman at the Wheel. I'm Sue, and I am in Chickasha, Oklahoma right now. This road is rough. Obviously, I'm not in the red Ford today. I'm in the Dodge, and the red Ford is in the barn waiting for parts. It's not a big fix. It turned out not to be as big of a deal as we thought it might have been. But we're still waiting on parts. Can't just walk into O'Reilly's and buy all the parts for a 96 vehicle. Doesn't work that way. So I'm driving the Dodge today. And I made a decision the other day on the way back from Texas when we were trailering the red Ford back, that I'm not going to sell this truck. I'm going to keep it and just use it when the red Fords broke down, or use the red Ford when this one's broke down, or a combination thereof the two. I can run short local trips with this and run my multi-state stuff with the red truck once it's fixed. It's actually pretty reliable. It's just some of the parts on it are messed up. So anyway, I just picked up a little bumper pull trailer. You should be able to see back here behind me. So a little horse trailer, and I'm hauling that down to Decatur, Texas. So I'm heading right back south on Highway 81. I'll just run right down to Decatur. It's the quickest way to get there, most direct route. I'll go down the familiar route that I usually run. You know, you guys, when you're with me, I'm usually running down Highway 81 from Marlow to Bowie, Texas, and then on down to Decatur on 287. So it's about 3 hours. It's 172 miles, so about 3 hours. If I drive 60, I'm not going to be driving 60. I'm going to be driving 70 probably. This is a little lightweight trailer, and I need to get down there before they close tonight. Now I've got kind of a plus because they don't close till 6, but I should be able to get it there by 4:30. I mean, it's 1:14 now. 4, so 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it'd be 4:14. So by 4:30, I should get this thing delivered. Then I have to come back home, and in the morning I'll come back up here and pick up a second trailer and take it down also. So this is going to be a pretty slim pickings week because it's already Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. There won't be any more loads after that one, I don't think. I think that's going to be it for the week. So I'm having a really shitty week, pay-wise, but it's better than nothing. So, you know, between these two, let's see, what am I going to gross on these? This phone drives me crazy. It does shit I don't tell it to do. Okay. So it's right around 300 gross for each trailer. So I'll gross about 600. It's going to take me a tank of fuel, which I already bought and paid for. This has a 52-gallon tank on it. It's full. And so it's just going to be one of those weeks, but it's better than not having any work, which is what it started out as. I've been sitting ready to go since Monday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I did nothing but sit. Talk about all dressed up, no place to go. Me and the truck both. That's the way the whole week has gone so far. So glad to finally get to move a little bit. Bunch of chickens out there. One of our chickens disappeared yesterday. I think a coyote probably got her. Damn dogs. The bad thing about a coyote isn't that they take one chicken, it's that they'll take one chicken and they figure it's dinner time every time they walk past our place. So we're going to have to keep an eye out now and try and kill it if it comes back. Otherwise, we're going to lose the rest of them. And we don't have that many left. We've only got 4 hens left now. We had 5. So now we're down to 4 hens. And we usually just let them roam around the house, and they've been, pretty safe. We lost a couple last summer, but, not at the same time. The actual critters getting them last year was a bobcat. We I walked out in the yard one day and saw it. I was like, oh damn, it's a bobcat. I didn't have my pistol on me. Kind of wished I had, because it had already eaten it and it was coming back to look for some more to eat. So I scared it off as best I could anyway. But it moved on. It decided it wasn't where it wanted to be hunting, I guess, 'cause it didn't come back. But we had a couple of coyotes in the yard. We scared them off, and that's been over a year ago. So this must be a new opportunistic critter. We think it's probably a coyote because we found not one single feather laying around anywhere. So whatever it was big enough to grab her and carry her off. And she's a decently sized chicken. She's a Rhode Island red. And I don't know if you know how expensive chickens are getting to be, but they're getting expensive enough that Bill built an incubator so we can get some of these eggs hatched. We haven't had a hen go broody ever. I guess we're going to have to do it ourselves. So he's been collecting up whatever eggs they lay here. They're starting to lay again. They were kind of slow to lay there for a while. Well, middle of winter and all. They're starting to lay again, and so he's collecting some eggs. Instead of just eating them, we're going to incubate them and see if we can't get some more hens out of this deal. I'm glad he knows about all that stuff because I don't know anything about it. We had chickens once when I was a kid. My mom got a bunch of, I think she got like a bunch of mail order chicks or something. There must have been 50 of them. So I don't know if she just bought it like a package deal, but one day we ended up having a bunch of little yellow chickens, little chicks, out in the screen porch on the house. And then they just kept getting bigger and bigger, but I don't remember them ever being around as adults, so I don't know what happened to them. I have no clue if she ended up giving them away or what. I have no idea. I don't remember them ever getting big enough to lay eggs or butcher or anything. So she must have had somebody come get them. I don't know. And she decided she didn't really want to be raising chickens in the front porch. I don't know. I never thought to ask her whatever happened to them. I wish I would have. I'll never know now because she's gone, but yeah, it was kind of a funny thing. So anyway, I'm not a chicken raising person. I've learned a little bit about them, and I've learned how to make a chicken apron of all things, because we've got one hen. Her name's Little Hen. She's the rooster's favorite. He's always chasing her around, and he kind of tore up her feathers, jumping on her so much. So I had to look up chicken aprons on the internet and get a pattern. So I finally made her a new one yesterday. I had made one that was okay, but then her feathers on her wings started getting torn up too. So I tried to rig up some wing protectors on the one I had made her, and I don't know, it didn't look real great. Didn't look like it was really protecting her too much. So then I hunted down another pattern last night and made a new one. So hopefully this one will be better for her. It's actually designed to have wing protectors, I guess. I don't know, but well, she's wearing it today and looking like she didn't mind it so much. She's never really acted like she was bothered by them at all. She's been wearing it now for probably a month, maybe a little longer. She seems like she's all right with it. So I was worried about her yesterday and sewing her apron, and the other chicken was getting ate by a coyote, I guess. Carried off by one. So it's annoying. So this is why I quit making friends with the chickens so much. The first batch we had, there's only one of the original batch left. That's Big Hen. And she's the only one out of, I think, a dozen chickens we had that survived this long. And she's probably almost 4 years old. So she's getting to be an old chicken, I guess. But the first batch, I made little pets out of all of them, and then they've all died off, and some of them got, some of them just died. So I learned not to do that anymore. I just, I like them, but I don't pick them up and pet them or carry them around like I used to. I treat them like chickens, I guess, instead of like house pets. I'm in Bowie, Texas. I just got on Highway 81, and I'm heading back from delivering a trailer down to Decatur, Texas. I had just one little short job this week, and that was it. As it turns out, I'm going to be doing the same thing again tomorrow, I guess. Bringing another little trailer down here. So at least I got some jobs on the board this week. It was up until noon today, I was being skunked for the whole week, and today's Thursday, so I'm really glad to get the work that I got. So anyway, I'm just heading home actually now is what I'm doing. Heading home for the night. So I just thought I'd do like a twilight video running up Highway 81 from Duncan to Marlow. It's not very far up there. It's, like 10-minute drive. It's only, 8 miles from this stoplight up. I think it's 8 miles to the Duncan Y, maybe, if that. Might be 6 miles to the Duncan Y and another 2 miles up to Marlow, or 3. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So what do y'all think about all these weird things that are going on all over the country, like the derailments with hazmat type gases and stuff? Deal in Ohio where they actually blew up a derailed train. I guess that was the best way they could think of to get rid of the chemicals that were on it in the cars, but it seems kind of like I don't know. That's almost like throwing the baby out with the bathwater to me. But I'm not a chemist, so I don't know how bad this stuff was or what else they could have done with it, but I don't know, it just seems bizarre. It's almost like they're doing a bunch of stuff to get our attention, to keep us from focusing on something else. It makes me wonder what that something else is, because there's a lot of things that we could be focusing on that are not complementary to our current government administration, that maybe they would like to draw attention away from. And I can think of quite a few things actually, like the Chinese balloon fiasco, which in and of itself is kind of a weird deal if you think about it, because they started out acting like they hadn't seen it, like it was a big surprise it showed up here, and then all of a sudden, well, it was like, no, it wasn't no surprise, we've been tracking it all the way from China. And then they're making excuses for the Chinese, saying, well, we don't think they really meant to fly it over all our nuclear installations, even though it went over, was it the Aleutian Islands or something, and then right over Montana and Missouri. I mean, the stuff that's happening now is unbelievably ridiculous, that they're trying to make it sound like there's nothing to it, like there's no consequence to it. It just makes me wonder. The things that I can imagine they were trying to be distracting us from would be like the investigation that they're doing on the Biden crime family now. Have you heard about that? Probably not if you don't watch, depending on your news sources. If you're watching network news, you'll never even hear about it. But there's actually a hearing going on where they're evaluating evidence that the Bidens are and have been peddling influence for years, and that they're beholden to the Chinese and the Ukrainians, which kind of makes sense considering we're having trouble with the Chinese and the Ukrainians, or the Russians, it's just a bizarre situation. So I'm not sure what all we're not supposed to be paying attention to, but I'm trying to pay attention to all of it. Because I don't know about you, but I quit falling for that. Look, what's that in the sky? When somebody's trying to distract me. I quit falling for that about, 50 years ago. It's something kids do. Adults don't generally do that. But there's a whole bunch of that going on lately. It makes me wonder what really is going on this planet. And somebody's working very hard overtime trying to get us to focus on a bunch of random things. It's like the railroad derailments. Now, there's been like 3 or 4 of them this week, but then if you look a little deeper, there are 3 or 4 or 5 railroad derailments every day in this country. It's just not all of them have anything to do with hazardous materials or spills. So it's not an unusual thing to have a lot of derailments, evidently, which, I didn't know this. I had to actually look it up. I would think that it would be kind of a rarity. We don't have a lot of them here on the railroad that runs through Marlow. I think we had one in our even remotely recent history, and that was 25 or 30 years ago. May have been longer than that. So it makes me wonder, what really is going on. And I don't know if we're ever going to figure it all out or not, because we don't have reporters anymore. Used to be, we had journalists who would go out there and ferret out a story, and they didn't put a slant on it to any political leaning. They just reported the damn story and let you figure it out what you thought about it on your own. Well, that's ancient history, because they haven't been doing that now for 20 years, which is a shame. I wish that we had some brave actual journalists who would go out and start digging and reporting on this stuff like they used to, instead of being the pawns of the left or the right. And I can tell you a couple of things that may or may not be interesting. I'm not definitely in favor of the left politically. I think it's been taken over by a bunch of wackadoodles who are their whole agenda is to destroy this country by promoting things like guys in drag, reading books to little children, and making pedophilia kind of just a normal thing. This is stuff you would never believe is real. If you read this in a book or something, you'd be like, that's the biggest bunch of crap I ever read in my life. Nobody would fall for that. Well, a couple weeks ago in California, they actually passed a law saying that it's okay to have sex with children, in a nutshell. There's a little more to it than that, but that's the gist of it. So this is actually going on. And they've recruited what I call the wokesters, which are primarily younger people who have very little life experience, but they've been indoctrinated into this whole wokest kind of cult. And they believe in all this stuff. They believe that there are 277 different genders, and that boys can be girls and girls can be boys and boys can have babies. They believe all this stuff, which is totally ludicrous. It's obviously not scientific in any way, shape, or form, but this is what they've been taught. So the whole time their parents were sending them to school thinking they were getting an education, and this is what they were being taught. So this is the kind of thing that's going on right now, and it's really bizarre. I've never seen anything like this in my life, and I've been around a while. I'm not a spring chicken. I've been around almost 65 years, and I've never seen anything like this, where the public at large You know, a good-sized chunk of the public has been basically brainwashed into believing things that are absolutely false, have no bearing in fact. It's just some shit some people made up, and these people are eating it up, like gobbling it up with a spoon, like, feed me some more of that shit, that tastes so good. And it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand it. I, honest to God, do not understand what kind of a human being would ever believe half the crap that the woke left is trying to push on people. But some of them do. And they think that, they honestly think that anybody who isn't woke like them is like an evil entity who's trying to destroy the world, because they're being cruel to people who think they're women when they're born men, or they think we're being mean to trans people, and they see that as like the biggest crime and sin in the realm of possibilities. So it's really bizarre. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So it just makes me wonder, with all this crazy shit going on anyway, what is it they're trying to get us to not see by throwing all this crazy stuff at us and blowing it out of proportion to make it sound like it's really something. It's like the train derailments. I mean, the only reason that the one in Ohio was getting all of the attention it got is because it's also an environmental disaster, which, by the way, they're not even talking about. But now that that's on the radar, now every train that's derailed is like a thing. You know, they've found ways, evidently, to get and keep our attention by every day it's another disaster, or every day it's another weird event that they want us to look at and be, you know, mesmerized by. So again, I ask, why are they doing this? Well, there are things they don't want us to be thinking about. They don't want us thinking about Biden and his son, who's a criminal, and the things that they've been doing, the criminal acts they've been committing. And it's pretty well been shown that, yes, they are participating in this kind of influence peddling, and they've been doing it ever since Biden's been in Washington. So this is nothing new. So they don't want us looking at that because, you know, they like Biden in there. He's malleable. He'll do pretty much what they want him to do. And I say that because I don't really believe for a minute that Biden's in charge of anything. I'm surprised he's in charge of, you know, taking himself to the bathroom, and he may not be. They might have him in a diaper. I don't know. He seems impaired at best. And then he pops off saying things that, you know, you would kind of expect from an old guy who's losing it. You know, he's not always real with it. But the things he does say sometimes, I think, kind of indicate the mental capacity he's got these days. And let's face it, Biden's never been like a mental giant. Biden's always been a corrupt politician, but he's never done anything. He's just been a corrupt politician. He's lived on the political public dole all of his life, all of his career. And he's lied so much at this point that he can't even talk to the press without lying about everything else. I mean, he just lies and lies and lies some more. Everything he says is a lie. And it's bizarre. But I think the reason that he's doing this is because he can't remember what the truth is. So that's the problem with lying for a living. You know, when you start living your life as a liar, and you've accepted that, you know, to thrive in your chosen profession, you're just going to have to lie. And you'll say and or do anything to protect that money coming in, you know, that you're not really actually earning, but you're siphoning it, stealing it, basically, you know, from the American people. And eventually you forget your lies. So you just, at some point, you just throw up your hands and say, well, I'm just going to say whatever comes into my mind, because I can't remember what I lied about anyway. It doesn't matter, because nobody's going to challenge me on it. I think that's where Biden's at right now. I think he's to the point where he knows he's not going to be challenged because the left will protect him because he's the guy that's in the White House on their behalf. So, you know, they don't respect him. They probably don't even like him. But he was this is the crazy part, he was the least threatening potential candidate the left could bring forward in the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 8 years. He was it. I mean, he didn't seem too wackadoodle left, and he didn't seem too like too much of a socialist or any of that. He just seems like, you know, good old Uncle Joe, just a savvy DC operator. So I don't know. I think that's kind of where that's at.